Hello, and welcome back to the crash course on writing technical reports in Microsoft Word. We are now on lesson 3 for this course, which will talk about references, how to make citations, and how to make uh, bibliography. So the objectives for this lesson are this. So by the end of this lesson, you will be able to know how to insert a citation and a source or your reference. So create a custom bibliography if applicable, and generate and update a bibliography. So let's now go directly to our file. So this is our file, and from lesson 1 and lesson 2, we have already applied styles and headings from lesson 1. We have divided the document into two sections. We inserted section breaks and page breaks and generated a table of contents. Okay, so let's now go to referencing. So there are two ways to insert a citation. You can add a source first, or you can insert a citation as you go and add a source in the process. So we will just do the second one where we insert a citation. So you go to your references tab and then click insert citation. And if you don't have sources yet, so add new source. Okay, I'm gonna cancel that one. Okay, so for instance, I'm gonna refer this term, say lazy dog. So say I'm gonna cite this. Say I have a reference for this, the lazy dog, and then so I'm gonna place a citation after the word lazy dog. So I'm gonna put my cursor there, go to the reference tab, insert citation, and then add new source. So it depends. You have different choices here. If your source is a book section, a journal or article in a periodical or a conference proceeding, a report, a website. So you just choose the type of source here, whichever is applicable to your source. So for example, a book. So for the author of the book, to write the name, you can actually directly write the name, but since you still don't know how the format, you go here, edit, add the last name, say the last name is say the first name is Rodolfo. The middle name is say, the middle initial O, and then you add. And okay. So you'll notice that this is the format for the author. So you have the last name first, the first name, and then O. If you want to add another author, for instance, so you will have uh, say Manigo. Say I'm the second author, Manigo, Jonathan. Then semicolon. So that's the format. But of course, you can also use this. You don't want to directly write the name, but it's easier to directly write the name. So here, we input the title. It's the title of the book. The year it was published, say 2021. The city where it was published, say one city. And say publisher, say the one who published it, say the CSU Press. So if you have other info about your source, you can click this one here, this square box here, to show all bibliography fields. So such as say one of the more common is the edition of the book. Say it's the third edition, and say the pages. What pages? Exactly what pages of the book are you trying to reference? Say page 22 to 23, for instance. And then click OK. So, by the way, our style should be IEEE. So you select our reference style to be IEEE because that is our reference style. IEEE. It's electrical engineering something. I forgot the meaning of I and A. APA is American Psychological Association. This is usually the format if you're in the social sciences. But I think the biology department also uses APA. But for us, physics, chemistry, engineering, it's IEEE. That's our format. So it's usually the citation looks like a number. It's a number enclosed in a square bracket. Okay. Suppose we add another citation, say quick brown fox. Say fox before the fox. I will add another citation there. So again, I'm going to insert citation, and you will notice that the previous source that we have added is already here. So if you want to repeat, for instance, you cite again this source in another part, in another chapter, for instance, or another part of your document. So you just click this part here. So there's the name, the authors, the title of the book, the year published, and so on. So say I want a new source. So say it's now a journal article. Say I am the author. Semicolon. So this is the title of the paper, the journal name. So name of journal. So year, say 2021. Say pages, if it's applicable, say pages 22 to 23. Say volume 2, issue 3. Okay. You can click again this one if you want to add other bibliography fields. So, suppose that's now okay. Okay. So you will notice that page 1, they have the same number, but it should now be 1 and it should now be 2, because usually the first one cited becomes the number 1, the second one cited is number 2. So since this is now the second one cited, this should now be number 2. So I can actually right click update field to manually update it, or the previous the easier one is to print preview and then go back. Oh, it's still not working. Why? Oh, it doesn't work. Usually the print preview trick works, but I guess that only works in earlier versions. I don't know. So we don't have a choice but to right click update field. Actually, you can select all the document, Control A, Control All, right click, and then update field if you want to update everything. That one, you can also do that. So in this case, we'll just update here. Update field. It now becomes number. Okay. Suppose there are 2 references for lazy dog. So usually, if you do that, we click inside the citation, and then we insert another citation. So for instance, I'm gonna add a new source. So say it's now a conference proceeding. Okay, I'm still the author. Semicolon. So title of paper, year published, say 2021, conference publication name, so say SPBM, and what city, say one city. Okay, and then I press OK. So you will notice that this is what happens if you have multiple sources or references citing a single a phrase or a single word. So this is what happens. So that's what you do. Just click inside and then add another or insert another citation. So if there's 3 sources referring to lazy dog, then you insert, you're going to click this one and then you insert citation. Again, if you insert a citation before all of this, all of the numbers should change when you generate the references. So again, the rule is the first one to be cited is number 1, the second one to be cited is number 2, and so on. Okay. Okay. So suppose we now have our references. So let's now try to generate the references. So let's go to our navigation pane, click on the references heading. Cursor. Okay, we are now here. So I'm gonna enter. So I'm gonna generate the references here. So if you will notice, I only have added 3 references yet. So 1, 2, 3. So there should be 1, 2, 3 generated here. So I'm gonna do that by clicking this one, bibliography, and then insert bibliography. So click this one, insert bibliography. That one. I now have 3 uh, references. So the first one is a journal, a paper in a journal. Second one is a book. And the third one is a conference proceeding. Okay. So again, similar with the tables, if there you have inserted new references or new citation, you just right click the references here and then update field. You inserted new references. So it's much easier, unlike before, where you have to change everything. If you don't know how to reference in Microsoft Word, you do it manually. You type number 1, number 2, number 3 manually, and that's it's actually very hard to do. It's actually very tedious, hassle in Bisaya. Okay. So I guess that's it. That's it for lesson 3. So as of now, we now have styled our documents, we now have generated table of contents, and we now have generated the references. And you now know how to insert a citation. So I will see you again in lesson number 4, which will talk about how to insert a table, a figure, an equation, how to cite a table, figure, or equation, and how to generate a list of figures and list of tables and list of equations for that matter. So I will see you again in the next lesson.